Okay, confidence, how to increase their confidence. You have some students that have more confidence than they have knowledge or skill, and some that have a lot of knowledge and skill, but they're not very confident. And so, you know, we really want to just kind of make sure it's the right level for what they are. Maybe help them increase both. The first thing I think is important. Have you ever, when you were a student, I try to think back when I was a student, and I've gone to some classes where the professor had this list of objectives, and it just seemed like something I could never ever accomplish in one lifetime, much less a semester. You know, and it's just so overwhelming. So I think we have to think about that. You know, make sure the objectives are realistic, but they're not going to be just, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is only a 3-hour class. I'm not going to do this. So it should be something that's not too hard or too easy. Let them know how hard this is going to be. This may, you know, maybe not say, you better suck it up, it's going to be really hard, but say, you know, you got to buckle down a little bit. Especially in my first and second 9 weeks classes when we're cramming a lot of information in, or the summertime classes, you know, they need to know it's going to be a little bit of a challenge here, so don't play. Online classes, I think it's really important to stress that. If you procrastinate, you're going to fall behind, you're not going to pass the class. So, you know, make sure they you know, get a little bit of a prod, but don't scare them to death. Allow for success that's meaningful. Provide success opportunities. Let's kind of go in together. And then having small steps. I like the example that was used on the last page here for confidence. This is the one for learning how to write a resume. It gives them an overall. You'll see that? By the end of the training, you will be required to write an effective personal resume. Okay, they know what they got to do. But they're going to do this by writing one section at a time. That's going to build their confidence. So that helps. They're not feeling like, oh my God, I can't do this. This is just one little part. Oh, okay, this is not going to be that bad. I can do this. And the same thing, you know, whether you're teaching math, you're teaching biology, whatever, breaking it down. So, okay, here's the challenge, but I can do it. Kind of tidbits, kind of little things. Giving them plenty of feedback. And I think the feedback has to be sort of, when we talk about satisfaction, we'll get more into feedback, okay? Because it's kind of an iffy area there. You can give too much or too little, and it's sort of tricky there. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Let them have plenty of learner control. Again, this goes back to what we had earlier with attention and relevance. If they feel like they are in charge, they feel like they accomplished a goal, and it's related to what they did, not just because they got lucky, they're more likely to keep motivated and to have confidence. Here's an example of being clear about your expectations. This is what I have in my online class, the very first link they come to. And they also, in their very first Dropbox, I ask them questions about this. So they have questions they have to answer. They go find this and they answer questions about it. So that I can give them feedback on the answers they have. So they know, you know, so that way this helps me so much, because my first couple of years teaching, I constantly have people coming back to me and going, well, I don't understand what we have to do. You know, I don't understand this discussion stuff or this Dropbox stuff. So I try to break it down so they know, okay, this is just a, you know, I can make this a lot longer, but I'm trying to keep it as small as possible. If you do these things, you're going to do well in the class. You know, that's it. And in the Dropbox, when they go and answer the questions, I say that again. What things do you need to do to make an A in this class? You know, you can find this on this link, and I tell them where to go find it. So they know, that way I don't have as many questions later going, what are you talking about? You know, this stuff and this and this. I thought all we had to do was a discussion. Didn't know we had these Dropboxes. Remember when you answer the questions at the very first week, you had to do this. So it helps them to know what they're expected. And here are the clear objectives. Again, you know, for each chapter you have these, and boy, you know, in the book sometimes there are 30 objectives, so it's kind of hard, but I try to break it down to the most important ones. I look back at the SLOs we have for our department and to relate what I'm doing here to our SLOs for each chapter. So it's not, you know, 35 objectives. I mean, what all do y'all teach? I know you do the theater and the speech, okay, and philosophy, English,
anatomy.
Okay, anatomy. That probably has a lot of objectives.
Yes.
Okay, that's the kind of class that could be overwhelming for a lot of students. You know, when they come in, they're like, I got to learn all the parts of the body. Are you kidding me? So how do you break that down? What do you do to make it so they don't get so Yeah.
their heads and rip it open. I mean, we do, a chapter a week, and we don't teach everything in the chapter. We don't cover all the objectives, but I don't know. Maybe you can help me, because
I mean, it's a tough one. When you have classes like that, that's tough. There's a lot of information they have to know, and how do you don't want to scare them to death, but you also want them to learn.
Right. And I know, I look at them like, I don't know if I want you to be my nurse. But I don't know. I'd love some help with breaking down some of those objectives.
Yeah. Do we have any suggestions breaking down objectives for something that's like that? I mean, with things you've done in your classes, or?
In my online class, instead of just calling a module, I just put blocks, and they like that. I'll say block 1, and they have different tasks under that. And
That's a good idea.
The feedback I've received so far is that it helps them to plan and organize. Like
So it's like a flow chart? Is that how yours is, or?
It's not really a flow chart, it's all linear, but they just I group all the activities together and call them blocks, and and they're all related. Like it might be everything pertaining to their argument assignment, their outline, and their positions analysis sheet, and
Right.
the works cited page. Everything that's pertaining to that assignment, I just group it all together, but I put it, in that particular order in which they completed. And
I can see how that would work for your field too. The blocks, they finish a block that improves their confidence, and they go, okay, I can do the next block then. And so you can say, everything in this block is the heart or something. I don't know, how you break it down, but you know what I mean. Some more strategies to improve confidence: asking open-ended questions, and then have them, defend their answers. I think that really does help. Identify situations where the learner's perceptions may vary. And I like this site, and if anyone wants me to email this PowerPoint to you, the link is there. I don't know if I can do it here. I think I have to do it here. This is kind of a cool site. He has a lot of ideas about brainstorming and how you can use brainstorming to increase the confidence of the classes. I like this, when you say you have an open-ended question, you have people get into groups, or maybe they're discussing as a whole class. And what do you think is the best way for us to do X, Y, and Z, depending on what the problem is you're trying to resolve. And I like the idea of having no criticism and welcoming unusual ideas and having a lot of ideas, and combining and improving ideas. And so maybe you can have 4 groups, and each group has a different problem they have to solve, and you said, here are the rules. There's no criticism, tons of ideas, let's figure out what we can do with this. And that's a good way to help brainstorm. And then when their idea is, at least part, when it's, hey, I had a role in this, that's going to improve their self-confidence. Hey, I helped solve this issue. So I really like that. And on this site here too, y'all, that goes all the way down to, if you're interested in doing the brainstorming activities in the class, you can come all the way down here. And some of the online classes, you can do groups, or you can set up groups online and have them solve problems that way too. So you can do it not just in the classroom, but online as well. But there's different variations here, and there's different ideas, and it just goes all the way down. It keeps on going. So if you want me to, give me your email address, and I'll send this to you if you want this. And then there's some ways they can do that. I liked your idea, Bobby, you're going to do with the faculty, of having people go and look for stuff, and I can see how that would be a good idea with groups online too, having them look for information and experiment and observe, doing models, collecting and organizing data, doing strategies and appropriate resources. I think those are all good things you can add to your project for each of the groups.